And within the university system, no, I must place the unions in proper perspective for people to understand.
Hello and welcome to the program. I am DEJI360. As we speak right now, supplementary governorship election is taking place in Anambra State. Do not forget, some weeks back, the governorship election was declared inconclusive, and so INEC now decided to hold the supplementary governorship election. So as we speak, accreditation is taking place, and we expect that by 12:30, voting will begin proper. Now, these are the candidates taking part. I shouldn't say these are the candidates taking part in the election, but as at the last time INEC declared the results of the election, of course, when INEC said the election was inconclusive, this is the current result of the inconclusive election, I should say. You have the candidate of Abia, Willie Obiano, leading the race by 174,710 votes. Of course, you have these three other candidates trailing behind. Now, something about this election you should know, that's a supplementary governorship election. Now, these three candidates have chosen to back out of today's supplementary governorship election. They say they are not taking part. The PDP candidate says he's not taking part, even though his party says it will be taking part in the election, but he's come out to say he's not taking part in the election. And the three of them are calling for the cancellation of the entire election and that fresh election should be held. But do not also forget that this supplementary election is not taking place across the state. It's only taking place in some local government areas of the state. Let's take a look at those local government areas. Now, there you have them. You have Idemili North, Idemili South, Anyamelum, Anambra East. There are quite a number of local government areas. And then something you should also know about these local government areas too, where the supplementary governorship election is taking place. It is not taking place in all of them. It is not taking place in all the polling units in the local government areas now that the supplementary governorship election is taking place. But one local government area that a lot of people consider very important and where the election, of course, will be taking place is Idemili. I think it should be, let's take a look at that now. It should be Idemili North. Of course, 160 polling units, and the total number of registered voters up for grabs there, 89,997. So quite huge. Every attention will be on Idemili North, exactly where the candidate of the APC comes from, even though the candidate, Chris Ngiga, has said, of course, and his party too has said, both of them, they are not taking part in the election. But then all eyes will be on this local government area. 168 polling units, 89,997 registered voters up for grabs. Now, let's also remind you how a winner would emerge. Do not forget, the Constitution says a winner must be able to poll majority of the votes cast in the election, and that the winner must also win one quarter of the votes in 2/3 of all the local government areas in Anambra State. Anambra State has 21 local government areas, and so 1/4 of the vote will be 25%, and 2/3 of all the local government areas will be 14. At the moment as we speak, based on the results declared by INEC just before the supplementary governorship election, the candidate of Abia has fulfilled all of that condition. But then the difference between his vote and that of the man who is coming second, that's the PDP candidate, is slim. And so for this supplementary governorship election, a total number of 113,113 votes are up for grabs. So we'll wait and see how all of that, how the supplementary governorship election plays out. We just hope that INEC gets it right this time around. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll be looking at something completely different. We'll be looking at the defection of the G7 governors to the APC. Stay with us. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ, if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, you're watching DEJI360. Some kind of political history happened during the week when the G7 governors, you know them, the rebel governors of the PDP, announced that they were defecting from the PDP to the APC. Now, some people had expected them to make that announcement a long time ago, and so when 3 days ago they announced that they were moving to the APC, it was not a surprise, but something actually happened. Something actually happened. Now, their defection to the APC completely changed the political map in the country. But something I should also let you know. Initially, we thought 7 of them had actually defected, but 2 of them later came out to say they were not leaving the PDP at all. The governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, said he was not leaving, and the governor of Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, also said he was staying put with the PDP. And the PDP, of course, came out to say, well, good riddance. That's what the PDP said. But later, it amended a statement saying the reconciliation process will still be going on. But then something you should know, the political map of the country, with that defection, with the 5 PDP governors now defecting to APC, this is what the map, the political map of the country looks at the moment. Now, in red, of course, you have the APC. Before this defection, the APC was controlling just about 12 states. I should say 11 states. But with the defection now, the APC has 16 states under its control. There you have the states in red. You have Yobe, Borno, Adamawa, Sokoto, Zamfara. You have all of them, Kwara, Oyo, Osun, of course, the whole of the southwestern states, with the exception of Ondo State, which, of course, belongs to the Labour Party. And then you have Ondo Imo, and you have Nasarawa, of course, and Kano. So you have the APC now controlling 16 states, and then the PDP, which used to have about 23 states, now has just 18 states. Look at the PDP now. The PDP is in green. So you can see that with the new political map now, you could say that, you know, the distribution, everything is evenly distributed. So no party can actually lay claim to having absolute majority. And in the House of Representatives as well as the Senate, we're waiting to see what happens. We've not had any senator at all come out to say they were defecting to the APC. We're waiting to see what happens, but there are suggestions that in the National Assembly there could be some kind of changes, and that if things go the way the APC planned it, then you could have a situation where the PDP becomes the minority party in the National Assembly. But let's just let you see the old map now. This is the old map. It gives you a sense of what is actually taking place. Look at the states in gray. They all used to be PDP. These are the states that have, these are the governors. The G7 governors are from this state. Now, 5 of them, of course, we have 7 in gray now, but 5 of them have defected to the APC. And that's the reason why you have this map now as our political map. So, I mean, in 2015, the situation is becoming interesting now. Just imagine if there was to be election tomorrow in this country. It's very difficult to tell which political party would win. But one thing we know for sure is that as we move towards 2015, the political map will continue to change. We understand the president will still be meeting with the G7 governors on Sunday. We'll wait and see what the outcome of that meeting would be. Now, if at the end of the day, the president is able to strike a deal with these G7 governors, then we could see some kind of reversal, because the governors may just be returning to the PDP. We'll just wait and see. But we're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we'll get a political analyst to do some kind of analysis of this situation for us. Don't go away. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ, if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. I'm now being joined on the program by Mr. Chima Nnaji, who is a political affairs analyst and also a lawyer. Mr. Nnaji, tell me how this is not in any way surprising, is it?
Not quite.
Because we expected
I saw that coming. I saw that coming. There have been so much dictations. Anybody who is a keen political watcher would have known that this was the destination.
Initially, when the news broke, we all thought it was the entire 7 governors who had defected. But after a while, some of them came out and started singing a different tune, starting with the governor of Jigawa State and then Niger State, and later, quite surprisingly, 24 hours after, Oyinlola came out to say he was not part of the group that had defected, even though we saw him hugging the former governor of Lagos. We also saw him at that press conference.
Yes. Well, there might be some strategic reasons behind that. There may also be the fact that in every, incidentally, then they were not up to 12, but it appears that even if you are up to 6, there could still be a Judas. Somebody might turn coat after seeing that circumstances surrounding his own situation may not be the same as everybody after all. We wait and see. Time will tell. But the reason given by Olagunsoye Oyinlola with respect to
that
his,
he still remains the
appeal court ruling and all that, even though it may appear to be an afterthought, after all, that was a fact before his defection or purported defection. If he probably now learned, maybe from the group discussion or plan, that he should stay back and still spoil the broth further before finally taking exit. We'll wait and see.
But let's look at this defection. Would you blame these governors for defecting? Because some people have come out and say, well, that, you know, it was just inevitable that they were going to leave, that the PDP did not create the opportunity actually in the real sense of the word for them to, for a proper reconciliation to take place. The president kept haggling over the reconciliation process. The meeting that the president, you know, the meeting they had, the meeting that was supposed to take place with the president did not take place. It kept being postponed, and that it was, this was just inevitable.
I don't think anything is inevitable. There's always an alternative to any situation. The fact of that defection, the facts may be very well squarely known to them. What we are seeing as snippets of what they let us know, or what some of us could just surmise from experience of political...
Could there be a possibility, if some people have also suggested that this could just be some kind of conspiracy, you know, that these governors are really not determined to actually defect? We also saw Governor Rotimi Amechi issuing, he came out with a statement yesterday, 24 hours after, not being categorical that he had actually defected. He was just giving reasons why he's not happy with the PDP.
The MOU is yet to be signed. When you want to negotiate, you do so from a position of strength. So it could also be a strategy. But I don't think if they have this as plan B and they have blown it so open, it has to do with credibility. Because when you're talking about doing certain things on behalf of your people, as some of them claim, which may not necessarily be true, they have personal problems. It's not a question of salvaging their people. They had the opportunity to do so in their various states. Some of them and many others have not done so. Okay? So the issue of maybe the MOU coming later, and mind you, MOU in law is not necessarily binding. You can, it's not enforceable.
There's just no way.
It's not enforceable
in
the court, yes. And in any case, in a political terrain, the gain is expected to be that of APC. So if you join, you have to queue up. There are some people who are already in the APC, and some of them have been...
But what we've been told, and what we're being told now is that the APC has said, look, as you guys are joining, we're handing over the party structure of your various states to you. And some people have said that is a recipe for some kind of crisis, whether or not you like it.
The question is, what structures did the APC have in many of those states? You get the point. There has been this theory of the goat and the palm leaves. PDP have been a boisterous party because of the reasonable certainty that if there were supposed to be an election, that somebody presented as a candidate of that party
would win.
You understand? So that's why the party ticket have become a life and death issue. You find that when somebody was rejected or could not get it from PDP, it's so much an easy thing to pick in any other party because it's not a trophy of sort. But if there is a shift in perception that APC, with all the agitations and all the permutations, might be a possible alternative to PDP, if anything snaps, you will see the same bickering that had been the bastion of PDP eat up APC. Eat up because APC has not ingratiated. Okay? It's just trying to form and consolidate and all that. And there are so many strange bedfellows that have not been whipped by any kind. Yes.
How do you think, this marriage will work, so to speak? You consider the fact that in Kwara State, for instance, there's a serious problem between the APC and the PDP. They just don't see eye to eye. You go to, in Anambra State, you have that kind of situation. And then in Osun State as well, it's quite surprising to see the former governor of Lagos State,
making up and hugging and laughing
and then as well prostrating before the former governor of Osun State, who is the chairman.
Exactly.
You think these people can work together? Because some people have said, well, that's politics for you. That in politics there are no permanent friends. No permanent enemies.
If there are three people eating in a plate of food, and there are three pieces of meat, if it is defined that each person will have his own, the problem will only come when one of them eats his own and encroaches on the second. That's where the problem. But if it is defined either by whatever understanding, there will be no problem. Because many of the people who are leaving the PDP do not have a peaceful place or no longer have peaceful place in PDP. APC itself is looking for people who will give the impression that PDP has collapsed. You get the point? So there is a loss and there is a gain. Whether that gain can be consolidated is a different thing, because the difficulty in the consolidation will come if PDP is able to strategize, because the PDP can no longer pretend to be what it used to be and be able to surmount the current problem.
Now. The party is dismissing this as now.
Yeah, they're dismissing it on the pages of newspaper and in the media. Certainly, they must be doing some work now. You understand? Because it can no longer be business as usual. It's just like when you are, if somebody is under the employment of somebody, a professional that have been doing his best to give his services, and maybe somehow by whatever consideration the boss did not seem to appreciate him, and he decides one day to turn in his letter of resignation, suddenly his value appreciates. You understand what I mean? Post resignation interview and all that will take place.
Definitely.
And they can even offer the man a higher level, whatever. It might come. Look, don't worry. When there are some people they want off the party, okay? If you want to kill the bishop, you may also pick a few members of the congregation to look as if it was just that the bishop was not the target. So once one or two or three of those people are gone, they will tell those other ones, look, my friend, don't you know this, and dangle one or two carrots. Nigerian politicians don't have staying power, outside power.
But this is definitely not a good development for the PDP, and if it keeps going like this...
It's not a good development, but it's a good development for the political environment. There should be no room for so much arrogance. I think there have been some arrogance among the leadership of PDP. You understand? You don't talk down on people. I mean, you must find a way to contain people when you want to make progress.
Could it be the PDP sees itself as just too large, and that it lives with this impression that no matter what, it will still retain power?
Not necessarily even too large. It has always prided itself as one of the largest parties in Africa. The fact of having been in power, and somebody, there are certain circumstances that will make you play God. Just like governors, the way people attend to their whims and caprices, it makes them play God. And what other forum can you have can you use to have access to that power? It is through the party. And the party happens to be PDP, willy-nilly. You understand what I mean? You need to see on election days how these things play out. You are emasculated. If the police arrests you and says that you did electoral malpractice, that is it. That's what the offense is.
Let's look at the political map now. It is surely changing.
Yes.
I mean, you look at the distribution of political parties today in the country, it is changing. You look at what is likely going to happen in the National Assembly, we're beginning to see that things are changing. The PDP, some say, might eventually find itself in the minority position in the National Assembly, and that in 2015, this is only going to make it even more difficult for President Jonathan. That is, if he chooses to run to win 2015.
The circumstance of the governor of a state is not the same as that of a legislator. The Constitution is very clear. If you as a legislator change your party,
there has to be, there must be
conditionalities.
Of course, there must be evidence
and
of
some of, in this
factionalization.
particular instance, the conditionalities have not been met.
Oh, you mean there's no faction in
No,
the
there's no faction because the court has declared that there is no new PDP. I don't know whether because people don't remember that there was a judicial pronouncement. I don't know whether you get the point.
Yeah.
There was a judicial pronouncement that after following that destruction...
Are you now saying the court has to make a pronouncement that, look, there is a faction?
If there was no pronouncement, it would have been left fluid. But having been made public through judicial pronouncement, it's just like a hermaphrodite could have been walking the street, no problem. But once it is that person is declared a female, that is what the official records will recognize. I don't know whether you get my drift here.
I mean,
it's a very dicey situation.
Very dicey because
very
we'll
dicey.
Wait and see how the politics plays out in the National Assembly.
If you factor in the fact that the law enforcement agencies, the control, is still within the ruling party, that anything the court says that favors them, it will be enforced to the letter, to the discomfiture of any party that is in the opposition. I don't know, no matter how much noise anybody makes. So the issue is many of those legislators that will want to change camps will also weigh the options. Some of them are not going to come back if they're to be under PDP anyway. So many of them, like in Enugu State, there have been a case of, you know, so such people in anger. And you know, when you move in anger, you are not likely to make too much progress because you cannot pursue foul with so much anger. You'll be falling like an epileptic patient.
I mean, this is politics. We'll wait and see.
Yes, that is the reality because
the Speaker of the House of Representatives has actually come out. We heard that quote, heard it reported. We saw it reported in the papers that he's come out to say, okay, members were free to join.
It does not lie in the mouth of the speaker because this is statutory. And let me tell you also, when you remove the fish from water, its means of sustenance has been withdrawn. And it is therefore most likely to be a candidate for the pot. What is happening in Nigerian politics is that many Nigerian politicians have no grassroots following beyond the carrot they are handling at that material moment. Once they are out, they are deserted. You have instances everywhere.
Well, in this case, they are not out. I mean, this governors...
Some of them, they are governors. Many of them are terminal governors. They are terminal governors. You may have all the money, but if you don't have the power, you understand? If you have money and you no longer, because this PDP umbrella gave them so much power. As a governor, you have certain powers. But if you do not enjoy the support, like when they say you are chief executive and chief security officer of the state, see what is happening in Rivers State.
But let's face it, this doesn't do any good at all to President Jonathan's ambition in 2015. That's if he
Well, it is his duty, if he's interested in running, to do all the necessary political, engineering to put himself back
do you still think the PDP can resolve this? Or do you think
there's nothing impossible
in
politics?
It's gotten to the point of no return.
There's nothing in life that gets to the point of no return.
Oh.
A poor man today can be a multimillionaire tomorrow. It's, even for some people who may have written him off, he may be working something.
So even when these G7 guys have come out to say, look, we have done this, there's still that
It is
your
possible.
possibility?
The anchor here is that Nigerian politicians have very little staying power out of power.
And anyway, they've said they're going to meet with the president.
What I'm telling you is that it could also be another strategy to negotiate. If you want somebody's hand, go for his head.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For joining us in the program. Well, thank you very much for your thoughts. Well, we'll wait and see what the outcome of that meeting between the president and the G7 governor would be. Well, some of the governors have said they are not going to attend the meeting, but all the same, we'll wait and see what happens. Now, if you missed the program or want to watch it again, you can do so by visiting our website, www.tv360nigeria.com, and look out for the category DEJI360. You can also watch us on YouTube by subscribing to our YouTube channel. It is www.youtube.com/TV360 Nigeria. Follow us on Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. And you could like us on Facebook as well. The address is facebook.com/TV360 online. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at TV360 online. We want to thank you very much for watching. I am DEJI360. I'll see you next week.
They don't go for salary. And within the university system, no, I'm not